Nicolas Cage, he makes these very intelligent, unconventional type of films that, you know, demand that you pay extra special attention to the way that he's constructing them. But you're rewarded. You're deeply rewarded. And this is, to me, his most emotional film, because it really asks a lot of interesting questions, great questions about, like, what constitutes a relationship? You know, like, when can you say that you are in a tight bond with someone? Because it's hard to explain, you know, without having seen the film. But, you know, this guy essentially falls in love with a personality that he doesn't really know or can see. And it's extremely convincing. I mean, it makes you believe in this sort of relationship and makes you think that we might not be that far off from these type of connections happening in our own society. And I gotta just single out Joaquin Phoenix in this film, who acts essentially alongside a voice and gives an incredible performance that, because it's such a crowded field in all of these different awards ceremonies and all these categories that are being, you know, releasing their nominations, he's not getting the type of attention that maybe he should be getting. It's an incredible performance. And so if you appreciate craft, you know, just screenwriting and, as Eric said, this world building, it takes place in a not too distant future, and it creates this extremely credible and recognizable world, and then drops Joaquin Phoenix and Amy Adams and even Scarlett Johansson acting with just her voice. It's got some of the best performances I've seen on screen all year. So whenever Her finds its way to a theater near you, please seek it out.
Yeah, and I really recommend watching it a couple of times. You know, watch it in theaters, get it on DVD, and watch it again, because, you know, like last night I watched it for a second time, and I really paid attention to the world itself, in this near future Los Angeles that he creates, and the little pieces about it, how people aren't interested in money, and that's not driving them at all. And it seems like people are just trying to find things to do to make them happy. Amy Adams is making a documentary about a woman sleeping. You know, Joaquin Phoenix works for beautifulhandwrittenletters.com, just writing beautiful letters that people want, you know, and nothing is driving, money is not driving them. And it's interesting to watch a society, even though Jones does not spend much time at it at all, it's just sort of in the background, which I love about him. He sets up these really big ideas and just lets them float around in the background and lets you discover them and lets you figure out what's going on there while he's telling this other story. And I really like that about him. He did it. I know we mentioned that other short that he did on the robots, and the name is escaping me right now, but he did that as well, and that reminded me of this. It's sort of a nice companion film to this. I would actually recommend watching that film, and before you watch Her, do like a double feature. I think it's online. Do you remember the name of that film?
No, I don't. No, it's escaping me.
Yes, it's. I'll tell you in a minute if I can see it. Actually,
while you're looking that up, we need to start preparing for 2014. There's so many things that we want to do next year, and there's so many titles that we're going to be covering. But we'd like to single out a few resolutions that we're hoping to make as we put 2013 to bed and start thinking about what we want to do in the coming year. And there's a couple of things that we would like to necessarily change about the way that we cover film and the way that we approach the industry, and maybe it'll inspire you guys to change a little bit about the things that you're thinking about too, because, you know, it's really hard. Like, there are blockbusters that need to be covered, but there's some narratives that have been written about certain franchises and certain features and certain genres and certain filmmakers, and maybe going into 2014 we're going to change the way we think and maybe have an open mind about certain things and certain people. So Eric, why don't you start and give me what your 2014 resolution for movie going and watching is going to be?
Okay, well, first of all, the Spike Jonze short film is from 2010. It's called I'm Here, and it stars Andrew Garfield, Sienna Guillory, and I would highly recommend finding that, watching that, and then watching Her. I think they make beautiful companion movies. But yes, 2014, here we are. My last year's resolution, I actually accomplished. I said I want to see more movies. Yeah, I felt like I wasn't seeing enough movies. I was getting to the end of December. Everybody was releasing their lists and had a lot to say. And I did not, because I did not see enough. But this year I felt like I saw a lot of movies, and I'm happy. I'm proud of myself. So now next year, what do I do? How do I up that? What do I up that ante? And I was thinking, I was looking at the landscape, and yeah, you know, you can put more attention to the lesser-known movies at film festivals, which I feel like I do. I love championing films that I discover. I'm going to Sundance in a couple of weeks, really looking forward to it. So I already do that. So then I'm looking at films and filmmakers, specifically actors, actresses, and saying, who do I need to give another shot to? Who do I want to give another chance to? Who have I written off that is coming out this year and saying, you know what, I'm going to give you another shot? And I was looking throughout the entire schedule, and whose name popped up but Michael Bay and Transformers 4.
Ooh, okay.
And here we are. Transformers. Okay, so the first one was like, it was all right. I watched 15 minutes of the second one, I turned it off. I haven't watched no Transformers movies since. I've actually watched a little bit of the third one, and I was like, I can't watch these movies. So here we go, Michael Bay, back behind the camera, a fourth Transformers movie, rebooting it with a new cast, not rebooting the story, but just taking a new cast and putting them in there. Mark Wahlberg is leading that cast. So here I am, I'm going to give him a shot. I'm going to give him a chance, Michael Bay.
Well, and you loved Pain Again. I mean, we both love Pain.
Yeah, it's not so much about Michael Bay as a filmmaker. I love Michael Bay like I love Tom Cruise. You know, Michael Bay has his off-camera nonsense and his craziness, and he's a madman, but I feel like he gives you your money's worth in terms of the kind of movies that he makes.
Right.
That said, I am not happy about the fact that he's lost himself in 4 Transformers movies, because I feel like we've lost Michael Bay. I'm glad that he's been able to make Pain Again, because it's like, thank God you're still here and making other stuff other than Transformers. And I can't wait to see what he does after Transformers 4, because I think he's finally going to pass that torch and move on to other things. But here he is. He's coming back for Transformers 4 with a new cast. I'm going to give it a shot this time. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to forget about the other 3. I'm going to maybe go watch the third one just so I know where everybody's at in the universe, all these robots. And I'm going to come into number 4, and I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to give it a clear go. I'm not going to be cynical about it. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to say, Transformers 4, welcome to my soul. And speak to me in an elevated way. And I hope that he surprises and that he delivers a film that it's interesting. It's interesting to see a part 4, because we're not really getting those these days. We're not getting past part 3s. And if we do get past part 3s, they're turning into other movies. Like, we're looking at the Spider-Man universe, and once that gets past its part 3, I think it's going to spin off into other films. So I think movie studios, especially in 2014, are going to start reevaluating what they do when they get past part 3. And Transformers 4 is going to be interesting, because he's replacing the cast, same robots, sort of kind of in the same story, I guess. So I'm curious to see how that all comes together, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely, because it almost ended up in another director's hands, and a lot of times that's what a franchise will do, is they'll turn it over to another filmmaker and try and bring a breath of fresh air into it. But I'm intrigued that it's still Bay, but with a new leading man and potentially new direction. It almost feels like a reboot without having to completely hit the reset button. And yeah, maybe Pain and Gain was the right way for him to sort of just refresh his own creative juices and maybe come back to this franchise from a new direction. And yeah, I'm totally intrigued. I'm definitely intrigued.
I am. That's my resolution. What's yours?
My resolution is to shine more light on the documentary genre. I was putting together my top 10 list this week and realizing that I very easily could have made a top 10 list of just documentaries, and I don't think that these films, this genre, gets the attention that it deserves, because there's so many amazing stories coming out of the documentary genre, and so many amazing filmmakers who are, establishing themselves as amazing storytellers, and yet because the theatrical model is broken from that standpoint, you will very rarely see a documentary on a screen in a theater near you. You have to go to film festivals. There's a film festival in Durham, North Carolina near me called the Full Frame Documentary Film Festival, where all they do is show docs, and I see a lot of great things there every year. It takes place in April, and if you can get there, because you'll see some fantastic stories. But I mean, this year, just 2013 alone, Sarah Polley did a movie called Stories We Tell, where she explored some family secrets and uncovered some really uncomfortable things. Just last night, my wife and I finally sat down and watched Black Fish, which is the story about the treatment of the whales in SeaWorld and how emotional these killer whales are, and just the sheer lunacy of people who get into the tanks, and think that they can train these whales and become friends with them. 20 Feet from Stardom was a great story about backup singers who work behind famous musicians and finally gave them a spotlight. And I mean, there was other movies like The Act of Killing, which did really well on the festival circuit that, I watched and was completely disturbed by.